What is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to look after your Meraki Espresso machine. So we will touch base very quickly on how to look after your machine as best as possible, but more importantly how to service your machine when that time comes due. So before we get stuck into that stuff, quickly run you through some of the tools you're going to need to do this. First tool you need is a pick of some sort. Something similar to this will be just fine. A short screwdriver or something like this with a Phillips head bit. Depending on the machine you get, there might be some with Allen key, so you might need an Allen key. And then of course you're going to need the parts to do the job. I will leave a link below. I'm not going to say where to get the parts because that's possibly going to change a few times by the time you watch this. So there will be a link below on where you can find the service kits. So firstly, I am just going to run you through how to look after the machine moving forward, but I will put a little indicator right here at the bottom to tell you where to go if you just want to see the service part of the video. So the machine does come with a blind filter. You need to pop that into your portafilter. Now, depending on the powder you want to use, pop whatever it is in there according to the instructions on that. Pop your portafilter in. Then on the main screen, swipe down, clean, and then it tells you to push the lever across and it will do a back flush. Now this is something I do every day without chemical, and you can see there's not a great deal in there, but if that wasn't done, that's going to build up in your shower screen. Now of course we can do a chemical descale of the internals of the machine. That will be with a liquid into the water tank. I'm not going to go deep diving into that because there's a million videos. All machines are pretty much the same. Go and buy the liquid you want to use and then do it. It's super simple. Now one thing I will point out is that says to keep it clean, and that is for a reason. There's a magnet under there for this guy, and if the dosing cup doesn't magnet into the right spot because it's covered in coffee, that will touch the back wall and then it won't read correctly. So make sure that that's free, standing, clean your stuff, look after it. Now this part's fairly common sense, but those little red indicators, once they hit above the level of the drip tray, it's time to empty your drip tray so that it doesn't overflow, make a mess. Make sure you do that. Alright, that's enough of that stuff. Most of that stuff is fairly common sense, but I do want to touch base on it because most times I do a video and they're the questions that people ask. So I figured I'd get that stuff out of the way. Let's get stuck into the juicy stuff. Let's replace your group head seal and your shower screen. Alright, so it's time to remove your shower screen so that we can replace it. So we need to undo this little screw here. I just need to jump in here very quickly and let you guys know that we have a whole range of coffees available that I roast here at my roastery for you guys to consume. Australia-wide shipping for 10 bucks. Doesn't matter how much you buy, at 10 bucks, I'll send it to you. Of course, we've got a whole range of merch and equipment, brewing stuff, machines, grinders, whatever it is you need, go to the website, support the channel. Let's get back to the video. And now we need to remove the gasket or group head seal. So pop your pick into it, pull everything out, and you can see everything starts to fall out. And then we do have this little guy here as well that comes out. So this is the old gasket and shower screen. You can see the one they've sent me is quite an improvement from the old one. We've now got a one piece, no welds. As you can see, this one's very different, kind of that two-piece setup. Probably going to be more consistent, gives us slightly better coffee, I would assume. And then we've got the new gasket here. Now I'm going to show you a little trick to know when you're probably due to replace this. Now there's no seal in the machine, and I've done that for a reason, so I can show you something. When you first get your machine, typically you'll pop the portafilter in and it will stop about here, give or take. Ideally we want that nice and parallel with the machine, purely for aesthetics. It doesn't really do too much, but as that seal wears or deteriorates, it will start to go across. And once it gets to this sort of point, you know that there's something not quite right. Obviously, we want to replace it before it gets to this point, and I would assume that it would be leaking water from outside the portafilter before it gets to this point anyway. So long story short, if your portafilter is going much past this or leaking water outside the portafilter, you know it's time to replace that guy. So now we want to clean inside. Everywhere we can get to, clean it as well as you can. So first up, we need to pop this little guy in, and you can see there's two little ears there that need to be lined up with the corresponding tabs inside the group head. With a little bit of pressure, that should sit in there long enough to get all the other parts inside. Now before I pop this in, I would typically put a little bit of food safe grease on this, but I'm aware that most people don't have that. But most people do have a little RDT bottle. Give it a spritz with some water. That's just going to help it go up inside a little bit easier. Make sure that that seal is situated all the way around. Then grab your shower screen and make sure it sits over the outside of that white flange. Once that's on there, we can pop the screw back in. You don't need to over tighten it, just nice and firm. Then grab your portafilter. Oh, that's nice. That's nice and perfect. Nice and symmetrical with the machine. And to give you guys an idea, this was starting to come over about 15 degrees from where it is now. And I've had this machine for 6 months, used a lot, absolutely abused, put through a lot of tests. So I would say under normal circumstances, it's probably going to be a little bit more like a year you would need to replace this. But if you find that's starting to go across too far, pop a new seal in there. It's going to be pretty cheap and bring you back to life. And in saying that, this is now a 6-month-old shower screen, quite heavily abused. I would say almost torture tested to the point I've used this machine, and it's still pretty clean. And I haven't put any chemical in this machine because I just wanted to see how it worked. Nice clean water is going to help, but that's a pretty good shower screen. So let's turn the machine on. Now wait, I know you're all excited and you want to drink coffee through your new shower screen. Don't drink the first coffee, run that shot, dial in a new coffee. I don't know, just don't drink it because your hands have been through it, potentially some grease and bits and pieces. So dump that shot and then you can start enjoying coffee once again. So guys, that is how easy it is to look after your Meraki Espresso machine. If you've got any questions, of course, feel free to pop them down below, and we'll see you guys in one of the next videos where I'm going to do a deep dive, long-term review of this machine. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.